but of course we know that one of these teams is going to be put into an elimination position, but that does not mean, Des, that one of them will definitely go home. So what will happen? Just to make it clear for everybody, once we get to the end of this, the loser will drop below that 0 bullet total, which would put them into elimination. However, because we're on day 3, the duel card, duel as Milosh likes to say, will be thrown in.
He couldn't quite do the as
I can hear him on the other side
going. And throwing back to the Yu-Gi-Oh days, I'm here for it.
So that will be played automatically. So the losing team will have an opportunity in a 1v1 to save themselves. Simple as that. The winning team, they don't really face any detriment from the 1v1. They'll have what they win from the game is locked in. If they win the duel, they can get themselves an extra bullet because they will then get the eliminator card for the extra point because they will have sent the other team home. However, if they don't win that duel, they won't get that extra point.
Ace band, surely? Yeah, so I love this pairing. We saw this in one of the games yesterday when you have a banner and an ace band away on this map. It becomes impossible to open that double wall at the end of White Corridor. And we saw one of the teams playing a mirror from the top of White Stairs, facing up towards top floor windows, and also had a shield just outside of the elevators looking up towards main stairs to make it a bit of a nuisance for shields to work their way around. It was a really interesting way of doing it, so as it stands, you'll struggle to get this wall opened up.
So who are we looking at on the side of, let's say, Elevate to kick things off?
Semper and Romeo.
Yeah, Semper and Romeo are the two. Psycho's been very quiet so far.
Look, don't pull any punches to him. He's had a crap tournament.
He really has. To say, formal work, but he's doing other jobs. You know, he is at the centre of the team. He's going to be calling a lot of shots.
Mr. Nice Guy Tim.
I'm just being realistic. He's doing a lot of other work, but he hasn't necessarily played the way that we know Psycho. So I feel like he's been a bit of a sleeper so far. I feel like there could be a big performance coming from PSG. They've really struggled. They've won one round so far. Obviously, the call going against M8, it was, let's take Fabian on. It was always going to be a tough one because Fabian knows exactly how they play. He knows exactly what they're going to do. And that showed. They got 8 kills total across the entire game yesterday. They got battered, and it wasn't. They got the lunch money taken yesterday. It wasn't pretty.
Talking about Bank for a second as well, it's actually one of the most successful maps for them over the last year. An 80% win rate, played it 5 times, won it 4. Last time they won it was actually back at SI where they beat Dark Zero on it. And bearing in mind, Dark Zero, the best team we've currently got here at the tournament, they beat them in map 3 of a best of 3. It's not the kind of map that PSG will pick. Like, they haven't picked it at all in the last year, but they're happy to let other teams take it in best of 3s, or they're happy to let it be decider maps all get picked up in a best of 1 like this. So I actually think for them, coming into a map like this, and given how things have gone for them so far, going back to a map where you've got a little bit of proven success and confidence on, I don't blame them for it at all. With Elevate, because it's a new team, it's hard to know what their history is like on this map. But for PSG at least, I wouldn't be feeling too bad about knowing you go into Bank here.
Look at this already. Psycho downstairs. Just easy. What we were saying, bit of a sleeper, maybe he'll have a big tournament today. He gets one, walks into a crossfire, Soldier's going to pick him up. Not a terrible start for either side, really. It was a little rush attempt, really, from Elliot, but not a fully committed rush attempt. It was just, let's just sort of send Psycho in down the main lobby arch. We'll see what we get from it. They've got themselves a kill. They've taken down the Goyo. It's Yas off the board. It's not the end of the world for PSG either.
Nah, losing the Goyo isn't the end of the world indeed, because once you've got those Vulcan canisters down, it's often why you'll see the Goyo being used as a roamer. It's got a great gun, very, very high rate of fire, good to get headshots with, and can also just send him out around the map doing whatever he wants once he's got those Vulcan canisters down. Problem here now is Semper's under quite a bit of pressure. Smokes on him, Yokais are on him, pushed by multiple players. He is dead to rights. I love this. The Death spoke about this, is that PSG often find themselves with 1 player stuck against 3. There's no support coming in for anyone else, but here they've changed that up. They have gone hard as a group of 2 or 3 there and slammed Semper out of the basement.
Yep, well played from PSG, keeping themselves a man advantage as well. They do still have the double shield combo to deal with, and Naka is going to get in there and start putting it down. We picked up Romeo, he showed why. Beautiful little pre-fire, takes out the man, allows the plant to go down, and all of a sudden, Des, PSG were playing this round really well. They dealt with the garage side, they dealt with Semper, and now they're on the back foot. They've got a plant down, and they're against 2 shields.
What more can you say? This is where Soldier's taking his eye off the ball for a couple of seconds there. This is going to be so rough to be able to claw this one back. Try as they might, as you say, Tim, they're against 2 shields. There's almost nothing that you can do. Ion sat up on the hatch. There's only one left in Soldier, and he can do nothing. Romeo with a comfortable closeout. There is definitely a pun in there about his name at some point. I haven't decided what it is yet, Tim, but it's a good win to start out round one.
Yep, Elevate looking pretty solid there.
Are you particularly au fait with Shakespeare?
As much as anybody. Well,
Yeah,
no,
so
that's not true.
Not really.
Saying as much as anybody includes me, like in a, some Oxford scholar who knows every word of it.
As much as your average.
Your average Joe. Yeah, you know, I've got. I can't say I'm like the biggest fan.
No. Something you grew up in UK schools.
Interesting.
Really...
Fun fact for you.
What?
Shakespeare died on his birthday.
Oh, fantastic. Cheers, Tim. My life is so much richer now I've got that knowledge in my life.
The thing is, you see, you're always like this, and then you're going to sit at a pub quiz one day in the future, 5 years down the line, and there's going to be a question.
When did Shakespeare die?
Which famous literary person died on their birthday? And you'd be like, thanks, Tim.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
I'll have you in the pub quiz team then, so it'll be all right.
Thanks, Tim.
10 seconds left.
It really won't be. Or I hate you, Tim, when I realise that you're actually right. Round 2's going up to this top 4, and this is where, as I mentioned, I'm really curious to see how it plays out because we've got that double reinforced wall off towards the left-hand side of your screen at the end of White Corridor. We have no easy way of getting rid of it. The banner's been taken away, the ace has been taken away, which means things are going to have to be a little bit different here for Elevate to make this one work. Now, this is PSG definitely having the ability to slow them down, but I'm still looking at this and thinking, well, there's a shield, some guys on side, there's a Capitao, there are a lot of smokes they can roll out. 6 in back pockets plus 2 of the bolts. Psycho's going to have a field day.
But we've got to ask, what difference does it make as well? So if you can't open that wall near elevators, what difference does it make? How does it help the defenders, that double-ranged hard breach ban? Well, it helps them because they can use the whole of vending corridor at the top of marble stairs, outside of stock. They know that their movement is going to be free in that area until Elevate are able to get up gold stairs. If they don't manage to achieve that, PSG can continue to rotate and continue to use that area. Elevate really need to get themselves established either top gold stairs or inside of stock so that they can prevent PSG having that sort of freedom.
It's why they started so early on with the Roteros of the Flores rolling up those white stairs to take away the barbed wire that's there. If nothing else, just to threaten PSG and let them know, hey, someone could come creeping at the bottom of these stairs at any time. I hope you're aware of this. But now that they've had 2 or 3 players dancing around it, we've had the mirror set up there, we've had the keeper barriers deployed around that area. Again, to turn this into a bit of a fortress and make it hard for Elevate to be able to push their way through. I wouldn't be shocked, by the way, if the more we see Bank, you see this pair of bans coming out for the team that's on the attack, on the defense, sorry.
We're going to have the Monty trying to push up gold stairs, exactly as I'd spoken about, try and clear out that spot at elevator. They know that he's there, they've just got to go and deal with him. I wouldn't have thought PSG will fight this too hard. As soon as they know the Monty's at the top of the stairs, it's not too much that they can do about it necessarily, depending on the position of the Yorkais. Nitro comes out, does a lot of damage to Naka actually, but as I suggested, we start to see PSG dropping away from that position a little bit. Soldier's going to wish he'd drop back quicker because he gets himself taken out. Psycho's going to find the kill with the glass, and that gives advantage to Elevate.
Just them coming in below, trying to work onto Yasu, sat around the main stairs. So everybody is under pressure right here. Just like Skittles, Tim, they're falling one after the other. All too easy. Yas at least wins one and Gotzi another. So a moment of stabilization here for PSG, but the kills keep on coming on through. Yas, as so often is the case of this team, is the last one left alive. Grant is going to go down, then in a 1 versus 3. I know how good he can beat him, but I don't quite back him to close his side against Elevate.
Attackers activating.
Agree. Allen is going to step around the corner and get that final kill. Nice round from Elevate. Again, they recognise that danger area at the top of Elevator. We can't get that wall open. We're going to have Soldier or somebody playing in there. We've got to deal with it, and it was a good plan to do so. Send up the Monty and then cut him off with Psycho, just having that angle across. And as he tries to relocate, get the kill. Good round from Psycho as well. We picked up on him being a little bit quiet in the tournament so far. Coming into this, he's got himself 3 kills, both of the entries, and he's looking good so far. It's really going to be a big boost for Elevate, is that?
I just love in the spot there where there is so much smoke around the map that he's the only person who can see anything, Tim. Like, what more can you do? There's no warden coming on the other side, which maybe is a little bit of a nod to PSG there, and really thinking, yeah, what should we expect to see with these bans that have come on through? How can they possibly force their way in towards White Corridor, or Vending Corridor as you want to call it, knowing that we can't get it opened up? Smokes are a great way of doing that, and we've seen teams employing Capitan a number of opportunities to attack this map in general, not even when things are hard to break through. So maybe not quite reading into what could have come then, and they've paid the price for it as a result. Elevate up 2-0 on their attack.
PSG move into open area as their third choice bomb site. I think we will see here Elevate with maybe a fairly similar attack. They're going to look to get themselves top floor. So it's going to be getting that Monty upstairs, bullying any PSG players that are on that top floor, moving them around. At the minute it's Gotti and Misa. Ryder's just moved up there as well to support. So it's going to be getting those three shifted out of there, get a couple of kills along the way, and Elevate will be very happy with that. They can then start working the verticals a little bit. They've got Romeo on the thermite, but they might struggle to, they don't have any hard breach gadgets, so they're going to be having to kind of hope that those hatches haven't been reinforced, that they've been opened up, because it's going to be difficult to use them. They're also going to struggle a little bit without any soft breach charges to get any verticals in the floor. So really it's going to be, I think, you know, force everybody away from top floor, and then it's going to be open the wall at the bottom of square and force your way into cafeteria.
Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, looking at the lineup, you've touched on it a little bit here, but for me, it's more about the Lion, the Dokkaebi, and the Deimos all coming together. That dangerous trifecta of operators that are perfect at hunting down those that might be out on their own. So there'll be no nasty surprises from PSG. And that means that everyone's boxed back inside the side by those three operators, as you remarked. You only need to get the one wall opened up, so I can't imagine they'll feel too bothered by this. Maybe even thinking, we don't need the hatch. But of course, with 2 extra thermics, one could go for the hatch, one could go for the square wall. We'll see what plays out, of course. First phone call coming on through here just to force everyone back at least a little bit. I've remarked a few times that the top teams you often see make use of a Dokkaebi for the whole team to be able to push forward at the same time. When every player on that enemy team is being called out, well, guess what? They can't exactly stand still. They have to fall back, have to try and group up a little bit further, and that should give a lot of space over to Elevate. That said, though, have gained loads of ground off the back of that first call.
Romeo just going to be positioning that drone. They're aware quite often you'll get this player lurking down in basement looking for that late round push up blue. As it is, they're very, very aware of that. Romeo's got the flank drone in place. He's a little bit free at the minute because he's got himself positioned in electrical. He's just waiting for the support to get the wall open. Now that Psycho's there on the he's going to be able to do that. And Elevate, with 1 minute left on the clock, they've got plenty of time and they're working pretty well. But they need to find a couple of kills now.
There's that main wall open that we spoke about. Again, keep it simple, stupid. They haven't got to go super deep on this one. Semper is on his backside, mind you, and will get finished off. Exploded in towards sight by the looks of it. Timon caught one off guard. However, he's now been traded out. They know that one's laid down at the back here, but they've got to pick him off at this point. They can't see him. He is tucked in tight. Tim, now they know he's there. Soldier is no more, and the Monty has made the cross. This should now mean the diffuser's going down in a second, and this one should be Elevates.
PSG are actually holding on pretty well here. They're using their utility. Oh, that's so unfortunate for them. The toxic vape canister's not quite touching Psycho. It will do now, though. Diffuser goes down in no man's land. 20 seconds left to go. This is going to need a gargantuan effort coming in from Elevate. They're trying to take fights. They're trying to look for kills, but PSG are just holding a deep back line. That's not going to work for you, Romeo. Misa cuts him down. PSG almost certainly locked this one out as Misa finds another onto the down Dion, and that is a much better round from PSG Talon.
Much stronger for sure. Admittedly there for Elevate. I know I said keep it simple, stupid, and they did, but I didn't mean keep it that stupid.
Maybe a bit too simple.
Because they completely forgot about a lot of the crucial utility. Things like the canisters burning out and the double smokes that were sat in back pocket. I don't know if that's what Semper's idea was in bursting in from Beeper's side, was to try and get rid of the smoke. But with that smoke still up, that Monty was never going to be safe in that position. So just forgot about a few key things there that really could have upset that attack. And let's be honest, Tim, there wasn't a whole lot of it. It was always going to be the Goyo, it was going to be the Maestro, and it was going to likely be any C4s or smokes that had come their way. Just didn't respect that, and PSG, fair play to them, have now got a round on the board.
We're going to see our next banning phase come in, where they each get to take an extra operator off the board, given that we're moving into round 4. And we can see that Monty and Azami have been taken away. Now, how's that going to impact things? Azami being taken away is going to make the top floor particularly difficult to hold on to, because we know that Azami is so popular to hold on around stock, vending machine, janitor, all around that area tends to get locked down with the Kiba barricades. So that's going to make life a little bit more trickier for PSG on the defense. But by contrast, they've taken the Monty away, and we've seen some great work from the Monty so far. However, I don't know, I sort of feel like at the minute there's sometimes with like a Monty after you've done 2 hard breaches, people just use the Blackbeard or just bring the Blitz. I don't know how much value. Obviously they're slightly easier to deal with because you can shoot the feet, or you can maybe get a little bit more of a challenge onto them. I don't know if you just see this through as PSG and say, right, there's Thermite as well, you can't breach anything. You're going to have to break Maverick.
There is that to a
Really
degree. The key thing about this site in particular, where this banning pair plays into it, again, you'll see this banning pair a lot on Bank for this reason, is that now downstairs, the single wall that leads in towards security from site itself, typically you'll see things like the mirror in this case, plays quite low down. For you to be able to break that wall out and get a little crouch plant position in, you need to go for, I was going to say for an ace or a Havana down, but right now, Tim, they're charging straight in towards Staff. Double C4, and he's dealt with both, and he's swatting them away. No issue at all. They've dropped back down towards site here and keep themselves alive. That's a great response to what could have been a disastrous scenario coming out for PSG. But to come back to it for a second, the single wall inside of A site, you need like a Havana or you need an ace to get it opened up to be able to get the plant in. You can't put a thermite on that wall now to open it up because of the mirror window. So that single wall stays fully closed. You have to then charge deep in towards site as Elevate if you want to make something happen. How do you charge deep? You bring along shields. They've also adapted really well to the kind of defense they're expecting out of PSG. I half thought we might see a mirror ban. Instead, it's been the Azami. Both are great bans for them based on what PSG have played, but they've chosen to try and deal with the mirror in a different way.
Misa has been tracked and has managed to get back safely to site, so Elevate can now be confident that they're in complete control of the map apart from site. 1 minute 30 left on the clock, plenty of time for them. We can see they're still working on opening hatches, getting that verticality that they want, putting the shotguns to use before they start posturing and positioning how they are going to get this diffuser down. As you said, Des, they're going to have to work to find themselves a little bit of space because that single wall is not going to be easily dealt with, but with the shields, they should be able to create some space. I like the use of this auto canister as well, just to prevent that hatch being opened up. It's all delay, delay, delay from PSG this round.
This is what I mean here. They can't open up that single wall, so they're a little bit stuck, a bit hamstrung on trying to push it through the single doorway. Shields do help with that. But now it's a case of getting the plant down. It's definitely going to be more difficult. You've still got those 3 smokes to deal with. You've still got 2 C4s to contend with. Hopefully they learn from round 3 here that you can't just ignore utility in back pockets or it's going to come back to bite you guys. We're down to the last 40 seconds though. Every player is still standing. I get the sense that PSG can hold on here, Tim.
Yeah, very possibly. We saw Elevate struggle a little bit last round when everything didn't quite go their way. That's a big pickup from the Twitch drone there, just taking out the mirror window, just going to give a little bit less security. Normally you'd see that on the red corridor wall. They've decided to play that a little bit deeper. Nades are going to be thrown into red corridor, and that's the reason that Yas has played that deeper. It gives him the flexibility. Psycho with an essential kill onto Soldier. We saw the nitro going out, but he just couldn't pull the trigger as the diffuser goes down. 4v4, Gotti finding one with the Toxic Babe canister. But again, PSG are in a position of having to fight back. They need to retake this upper floor. And as they do, they get caught in a big crossfire. Semper gets 1, Semper gets 2.
Oh, man. If this was any other team, you don't lose that. One player across both teams died during that execute. Yet they still manage to stick the diffuser through the whole thing. That is absolutely bonkers. Yes, once again, last player left standing. It's always the case with this team, but I do not know how PSG have let this one get away. Don't take it away from Elevate. They've played that really well there to make sure it goes down. But with 2 C4s in back pocket, with smoke canisters to play behind 3 of them, they still managed to stick the diffuser. Elevate really shouldn't have been able to get that one done. They've stole one away there, and PSG, very understandably, Tim, they call in attack timeout.
Yeah, they can maybe feel a little bit hard done to on that round. There was definitely opportunity for them to win it. There was a couple of things that they did well that I liked. You know, spoke at length about that single wall and how they created difficulty for Elevate, a problem. We always talk about these problems for teams to solve.
A gente fazer phaser perfeito. Vai de blitz, vai de blitz. Acho que é boa, mano. Tá sendo um bom shield, tá arregaçando os caras.
Se você for de blitz e for os 2 reforços, a gente não conseguir abrir o live, pega, pede o sense e tu planta de costas 나 파리?
키가 따면서 소파 쪽 버텨볼게. 그러면 현성이가 캐슬 말고 뭐 해야 돼? 워든하고 적적 버티면 될 것 같은데 10% 들고. 그게 나아. 진입하면 10% 잡고. 파이팅.
이거 접수처에 그냥 그거 하나 깔아줄게. ADS.
I've still a bit of Joker's input there, unfortunately, but I hear him talking about Warden.
Warden and Blitz.
I spoke about it earlier and I said I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen the Warden because we knew that the response was going to be, oh, they keep this wall closed up so we can play here. How do you get through that? Oh, they bring a lot of smokes. Now, obviously, in response to that, you're probably going to see Elevate change it up again. They won't try and run exactly the same thing again because there'll be an answer. And at least from the screen that I can see off to our right, Tim, Romeo's on the sense. So again, they're just constantly adapting to what it is that PSG are bringing along. They're always one step ahead. that last round there, they weren't one step ahead, Tim. Again, it's a bit criminal. I really feel like we should have been at a 2-2 scoreline here, but Elevate have just smashed and grabbed that round.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, you know, the way that they dealt with a couple of things created these problems for Elevate. Yas playing the mirror deeper, for example, rather than playing in the red corridor. We saw the nades coming in. It didn't matter to Yas. He was able to still hold on to his position, but ultimately, especially with the mirror window having been removed, it was just that little bit too difficult for PSG. So they're going to move on up to the top floor, continue their rotation as they will. And we'll see whether they can deal with that main lobby push that may well come along again. We've got Ion on the blitz. Could use that operator to get up gold stairs. They may choose to go elsewhere this time. I'm looking at Naka on the thermite. It could be to try and get into top of square, open up the walls. An old school take, really. We don't see it at pro play too often, but try and get those walls opened up from square, move on in and get a plan from there. Maybe using that gadgetry from Romeo to create the space on the windows to do so.
Romeo's all about this. There we go. He's got it this time around. I was going to say last time it was from the bottom of the stairs, and it's nice actually that Misa's managed to keep the shield up here. I bet Semper's looking at that like, how? But last time it was from the bottom of those marble stairs to clear out the barbed wire. Now it's trying to get rid of the shield, and he'll try his damnedest. And surely at that point, yeah, I was going to say, there's no way when the actual drone is on the shield that you kill the drone.
That'd be some real precision. That'd be some real precision.
That would be something. That would really be impressive. But no, not to be. The shield has been cleared out. Good stuff.
You can just hear the nitro on the ceiling above Yas there as well.
They haven't got rid of the barbed wire on white stairs this time.
No, exactly. He's ready for anybody getting inside of stop and punishing them. As I suggested, Naka is going to open the walls at the top of square. This is where the push is going to come from Elevate. You've got Romeo on the windows using the sense gadgetry to create a little bit of space inside the site. They need to deal with Soldier, really. Semper manages to find Misa, and that is going to make things difficult for Soldier because he knows in Janitor that he's now got one moving in from behind, from stock side, and that could be a big problem. Here goes the blitz, but they don't manage it. Soldier finds the kill, and that could be big. That could be round defining for PSG.
Well, they managed to get rid of Gotti to trade things back. It's now Semper versus Yas that I'm keeping a close eye on. But there we go. He's been taken out as well. Yas had the potential side swipe onto Janitor, but the flank watch was there. And once again, with the help of that Dokkaebi, Elevate have made this look pretty straightforward and easy. Ryder is so far away from where the execute is going down. He can do nothing but look on. Elevate continue their dominance.
Yeah, they're looking pretty comfortable, aren't they? No matter what PSG do, no matter what problems they try to prevent, to sort of provide to Elevate, Elevate always have the answers. And there's another element that we've not really had in competitive Siege that might start creeping into that mental game as well here, Des. And that is, on the side of PSG, one of these players, I kind of liken this to a little bit of a penalty shootout.
Okay.
In the back of their mind,
The 1v1.
it's going to be the 1v1. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but somebody is going to step up into a 1v1. For argument's sake, let's say this continues and PSG lose this match, they will face elimination. One of their players will go into a 1v1 against a player from Elevate. If PSG were to win that, it keeps them in the tournament. So you've got that, you know, I always wonder, I always find it fascinating, you know, I reference penalty shootouts in football and it's like, is it predetermined who's going to take them? Do you decide in the moment? Is that the case for PSG? Are they all kind of wondering, is it going to be me or do they know who it's going to be?
You know what's really funny? I was watching Spoit and Ambi. They were playing 2v2 wagers yesterday on their stream. It was really funny, really enjoyable to watch. And I couldn't stop thinking about how it's going to feel like that today when it comes down to this best of 5, this 1v1, knowing that your teammates are obviously completely away from the desk. They're not there while you're playing, they're elsewhere. They can't help you. You are literally by yourself. It's going to feel so intense like it did watching those games yesterday.
And so strange for these guys because they're used to sitting in their team, in their 5, having all that noise, all that input, all those comms.
It's going to be
all of a sudden, it's going to be deathly silent for them.
And you're the reason whether you're going home tomorrow or not.
Exactly. It's where we're heading. It's where we're heading.
It's the kind of chaos that I want to. It's the kind of chaos that I embrace. And I
you
love.
live for it.
Oh,
and it is one
through
way
and through.
One way or another, it's where we're heading because whichever team wins, the other is in an elimination position.
So you mean PSG are in the elimination position, Tim?
Whichever team wins, the other team is in the elimination position.
What's this? They're cooking.
So ultimately, it's going to be the case, as you said.
They're going to explode it. They've got 3 of them ready.
Straight in through this wall, straight into
from
the
last
open
time?
area, I would imagine.
Don't forget what happened last time, mind you, when they tried to push in through with the Monty. There was Goyo canisters, there was Evil Eyes, there was smokes, lots of utility, and now you also got to deal with Boom Mines too.
Banshees, Goo Mines, Goyo.
I'm not sure about this, guys. Okay, we're
might
going to
not be the
try.
one.
This is going to get messy now. Smoke on the door. Goyo canister pop. They're being cooked alive, Tim. It's a barbecue and elevator on the menu. Oh!
PSG have just absolutely dominated. They've put up the brick wall against that rush, giving absolutely no ground whatsoever. Elevate, you can understand why they risked it. They're 4-1 up. Let's have a look. Let's have a go. I think this round is pretty much done. Ion's going to find himself taken down. 1v5 now. It's all up to Naka on the Flores. He's moving down marble stairs, but there's no way that he does this.
No. I'm just like, I'm so frustrated.
I think it's one of them where they're mentally committed to it. So it's like, we've all been there. We've all been there in
You've been in the
ranks.
stack
And it's
when everyone
like,
else wants to rush and you
you're
don't.
going for it. And as you're going in, you think, this ain't going to work. You know it's not going to
but we're
happen.
in the round
you've
now,
committed,
we've got to.
And nobody wants to back down.
I'm just surprised there's no Twitch
They
being
should have
brought
backed down.
along to deal with something. Brava, because you're seeing the Evil Eyes on side. There's something they could have tried to use and simply haven't. They've tried to make the same thing work again. At least Napa's going to get an exit frag, but that's all they'll really get here. PSG will get 2 rounds in the half here. You won't knock them too much. It's the defensive side of Bank. You expect to see attackers doing pretty well. That said, though, with the change in the bans that we saw, we'd generally expect to see defenders, especially locking down the basement, but obviously they whiffed on that one big time. Interesting half, though. Enjoying how the bans have impacted this map more than most. Now let's see how things go in the second half. Elevate get to ban 2 attackers. PSG ban 2 defenders.
The problem that PSG face now is that they're going on to the attack. They only have a 25% attack win rate here at Reload. So, big problems for them. They're going to
I mean, Tim, let's not dress it up in a way. They've won 5
won
rounds
one
total
round.
so far. No, it's a 7. It's a celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday's 7-0 drubbing at the hands of Amati was not pretty. I think you're going to see the same 2 bans here as mentioned, by the way, especially against PSG, because we saw Amati really exploit this yesterday. Against teams that aren't quite as experienced, as disciplined, as put together, banning away hard breaches is a fantastic way to slow them down. You also heard Nave talking about it in the IGL video earlier on, saying, you know, there's a bunch of teams that are here, as you kind of gestured to other teams that are at the event, saying you ban away a couple of hard breaches, or bringing up Walden Isle, for example. They sit there for a minute scratching their head like, what do we do? I think you're probably going to find PSG having to figure this out. However, as they banned away these 2 operators themselves, I would expect to see them have some idea on how to deal with it, or at least something in mind that they've theory crafted over the last 24 hours ready to bring into this game.
We have got the Tachanka on side for Elevate. Romeo
Vote ban.
That's going to be, as the response to that ban.
Bomb
So
located
instead,
by attacker.
the problem here is, if you're looking at it, well, you know, it doesn't really matter about the small ban, then you've got the area denial from Tachanka. The problem with the area denial from Tachanka, and we see it on this side, the reason I mention it is we see it on this side specifically so often, is the area that it's going to impact is small. You've got to be more precise than you do with the smoke canisters.
10 seconds to
And
go.
we see a lot of the time the canisters being fired over from
5
Tachanka
seconds
and
to
missing the mark. We've quite a few times seen people get plants down,
Attackers are
even
heading
when
out to
those
defuse a
canisters are
bomb.
coming in. You've got to make sure that you're hitting your shot with them. They are not as straightforward to use as the floor.
We've seen a few teams use them over time, and as you say, the placement has to be so precise that you have to have practiced exactly where you're lying, the exact thing you're aiming at to make sure it goes in the right spot. And even then, a team can disrupt that by, I don't know, bringing along an Ossa and planting on the wall that leads in towards the server directly rather than in towards the one that leans towards blue stairs. Like,
difficult to get them
and
out.
suddenly everything's completely awash and it all falls apart from there. So hoping Romeo's got this practice locked down. We'll see, of course, if it even comes to the executing. We've got to assume that PSG get there first, which of course you'd trust them to be able to do, but with how things have gone so far, maybe the motivation is a little bit on the down low. No doubt a lot leaning as well in towards Yas on that sense as part of this execute.
Romeo taking a chunk of damage there as well. If you're the plant denial, you've got to make sure you're still alive, Romeo. Going to drop himself back down.
He's a chunky boy, he's all right. Not Romeo, the operator.
Just sure that he is still there, left to fight come the end. The Mozzie Pest is going to prevent the drone going in there ahead of the Monty. They're not going to be completely sure. They are pretty clear here. It's not too much of a concern for them. You're going to be able to get in there, get control over open area, start getting those hatches, start a little bit of pressure onto Elevate. The first step here is get them moving, get them out of those positions that they've chosen to play.
Got to know there's a player down blue stairs as well. It's now been dug in on the Warden. Bit of a classic setup on this site. Used to seeing the hole coming in there. Sometimes the smoke can be the one dug in, but a warden's just as good, especially when you've got flashes and all manner of things being tossed at you as you stand on there. Of course, reminding again that the Sense light wall now cannot be seen through by the warden. So I'm not saying you roll one of those down the stairs, but at least it will help you with putting a bit of pressure onto him if needs be. And here the pressure's starting to build up now on this side as well. Semper really starting to dip things in with those keeper barriers. And there's the first victim. In fact, two fall in quick succession. Both Naka and Semper taken offline. Yes, Gotti goes down, but he'll get picked back up. Great start for PSG.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. It creates them space. That's the big important thing. They've got themselves into server now, so they are effectively one step away from being able to get this diffuser down. And that step is clearing out the utility, creating the space. They've got manpower to leave people up on the hatches without leaving themselves short-handed downstairs. Psycho gets one, but then he gets sloppy. Tries to continue on up the stairs and gets shot in the back by a Ryder. And again, PSG just having the answers. Make it 3. Ion, you knew he was there. Make it 4. Ryder cutting through Elevate like a hot knife through butter in that round.
4 kills he's racked up in that round. Fair play, Ryder. A really weird one, to be fair. Like Elevate, you expect they're going to lose players when trying to defend onto blue. The Warden, you kind of leave as a sacrifice. You want to waste time. And sure, they were down to a minute left on the clock after they killed the Warden, but Semper somehow got sucked into that on the Azami. He was really trying to lock down server, making use of the Kiba barriers, and then paid the price for it. He stepped in, took a gunfight, lost, and before you know it, well, it's a 5 versus 3 for PSG. A real mistake being made by him there, overcommitting a bit too much, and it opened the door for PSG to close things out. I think even if they'd lost that point out towards square side, it wouldn't have mattered because Ryder has got absolutely nuclear there.
He's had a great round, hasn't he? There's absolutely nothing stopping him. Oh! Oh, it's disgusting, Des!
Styling on people,
it's
wow.
Disgusting. Drops the hatch, hit by a headshot. Beautiful stuff.
All right. It's not over till the fat lady sings, or in this case, until there is a 1v1. PSG only a round behind here, and with that first round behind them and in the wind in their sails, I think you start thinking they can get something else on the go here. We're up to this top floor now. I said I wanted to see this site. I was really curious how it was going to play out because we've got those 2 hard breach bands coming through. That means the wall that Psycho is currently reinforcing off towards the end of White Corridor cannot be opened. It will stay firmly closed up. Thank you very much, Mr. Observer. So they can play inside of this White Corridor. Now, when Elevate were attacking it, they used Flores an awful lot. They got rid of the barbed wire that was on White Stairs, for example. They chewed their way through destructibles like the deployable shields, and then put a lot of focus on opening up the square walls and making use of Sense to execute inside of the site. PSG here, Tim, it looks like they're going hell for leather for the site. They've got Glaz, Yas in particular, alongside the sniper of Ryder. There's a lot they can do here at distance, so I imagine you're going to see a ton of window play, which there are already 3 players here.
Yeah, they've brought the Cali along to get rid of
tell you, Tim, everybody is here. There is not a single player anywhere else on the map. They're all here.
The fact they've brought the Cali kind of telegraphs that they're going for a window play.
Wow.
Because they've brought that along to be able to deal with the mirror window that Naka's currently playing behind, because that's going to be the sticking point for this, is getting in through those windows and getting the diffuser down. Misa does manage to find Romeo with a nade. PSG Talon Des, they've woken up here. They've got themselves another entry. They're just waiting for everybody to get into position. They will then take away that mirror window with the Cali, and they will look to push forward and get themselves into sight. This is really good stuff from them so far.
A reminder as well that we aren't going to see players from Elevate throwing themselves out of these windows, because now you can't ADS when you're vaulting over something where the drop is too long on the other side. So this is a real safe spot for them to be in. Like, they can lean in and just go deep. They've got claymores, but have barely had to use them. Only 2 on side. Why even worry about that? You're perfectly safe here. Walls have been opened up by playing in through the window. Everything. It's feeling like a SWAT operation, Tim. It's all being done from the windows. I love it.
At the minute is they haven't dealt with the mirror window. Naka is still in Janitor and still has that utility to play behind. It's up to the Cali to get that lance in there and make sure that that glass is shattered. Either that, or you're going to have to work in and get the kill physically inside of Janitor.
Yas being here feels a bit off. They've still got 3 smokes to play behind, but he's not in a spot where he can leverage them unless the walls... In fact, sorry, yeah, the wall is slightly opened up, so you can do a lot here from square. Semper's trying to push it from the side at the same time, so they've got to pay respect towards this. But Tim, they're inside of the site here, and with the window cover they've got and the smokes all around, they can get a plant going here once they've dealt with the C4s. Bees are in towards 1. Semper does get 1 back onto Yas. That's Glaz offline. Those smokes now aren't all that helpful, Tim.
They haven't dealt with the mirror window, Des. That's where they've just lost the diffuser from. Gotti was trying to put it down. It's far too late now. Naka steps out and gets the kill, puts the diffuser down in no man's land. Soldier has been able to go in and grab a hold of that case, but now the question is, can they create enough safety for him to be able to put it down? Because they are being hassled on every side. Soldier is gonna try. Naka manages to find Misa. Can they get out of the windows? Can they create some safety? It's all up to Ryder.
This is so horrible now, because even with the plant down to, they can't bolt out to go for a kill. They're a bit stuck having to watch the window here. They're going to have to play this super smart or run out from the ground floor. But where do you run out? There's not a lot that they can do.
They need one to play on the windows here. This is right from Naka. He needs to play on the windows exactly like that. Make the challenge whilst they go for the diffuse. And that's exactly what they've done. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful problem solving. Elevate can't go out of the windows, Des. It doesn't matter. They'll just go and use a different one.
Really smartly played. I was going to say, that's one of the only options you can think of. But surely PSG expect that and have a drone ready and waiting, but nothing.
PSG would have won that round if they'd have dealt with the mirror window.
That's 2 rounds now that I'd look at, honestly, for PSG and say they could have won those rounds. Think back to the plant went down with 9 players alive, for example, in the basement. 2 rounds that I don't feel PSG should have lost. Yet they managed to let it go, because the approach to that round, you know what? I said earlier on with these 2 bands coming in, they should have an approach to this side that meant that they've thought this through. Clearly they had, but they forgot, as you remarked, on that one crucial step of getting rid of the mirror window. It's the most simple things. It's like top of the checklist on what you've got to get done, and they paid the price for it.
It's not to say that it's impossible, you know, for Naka to still stop that plan if the mirror window's been taken out. But the fact is, he's stood there looking at Gotti planted.
Yeah.
He can pre-aim it. He knows exactly where to look. If you've got rid of that glass, then you just watch that corner. And he has to come around, and you've got that extra half a second whilst he has a look. Where is Gotti exactly? And that's when you hit your shot. You get the kill, you stop him, and you protect your planter. It was almost impossible. Really, a bit frustrating, to be honest, to watch PSG struggle with that. He was so close to getting that plant down, and the answer was there for them. Just didn't take it until it was too late.
What I will say
Great round from Naka, to be fair, as well.
For sure. And again, for my view of how things have been so far, PSG without a couple of basic mistakes here would be up 5-3. And I do want to give them credit for this. I think many came into this game thinking, oh, after yesterday they're getting slammed. Well, like in my fantasy team, I've gone hard against PSG. I thought they were getting rolled, but they played pretty well. Again, a couple of basic mistakes have stung them, but overall the team is having a good performance, and Elevate are really struggling at points, I think, to get this over the line. I wouldn't be shocked if this gets drawn up to like a 7-5, potentially even overtime, unless Elevate can really tighten things up here in round 9.
Yeah, there's definitely gaps for PSG to exploit, and I think, you know, a team that we were seeing better performances out of would be doing that, and we've, you know, that's why we've seen Elevate struggle so far. But I don't know, I feel like they've maybe got a little bit of momentum now. They've been let off the hook once or twice, and they're going to start to take advantage of that. They're just getting a picture now of where everybody is located on this PSG push. Ryder's taking damage, Soldier's taking damage. They're starting to push them around. Semper manages to take out the Ash. 5 versus 4. Elevate do lose Semper though. Yas manages to find him, but Iron's there with a response. It's all going in Elevate's favour.
Oh, yes. Down to a slither of HP. Like you say, the numbers definitely sit on the other side in a really weird way, a weird twist of fate, Tim. PSG have fallen down to the same things that Elevate did. Iron was tucked in on that quad wall, the square wall, and has shot a player who's gone across to try and make the plan happen. Whether it's shooting Goyo canisters or shooting players, it doesn't really matter. Point being, they've stopped the plant going down, and they've basically won the round off the back of that. Romeo gets one more. Yas is all alone once again. How many times is the last one left alive? Nice clay pigeon shooting, but one player to find 2, gets rid of him. Yas is good for a 3K, Tim. He's got a single point of HP to his name, though. One bullet will be enough to see this one out, and they've got pings coming down on him from pretty much everywhere. A minute still to play. Romeo's got to hold on.
Yeah, Romeo's 8-4. He's playing well, full health. Honestly, I'm not really sure I see a way for Yas to win this. This could be a little precursor of what's to come. There's Yas versus Romeo in a 1v1.
Romeo and Juliet was a bit of a tragedy. Hopefully this one doesn't prove to be. Yas had the right sort of idea.
It is certainly looking that way, though.
30 seconds to go. Oh, almost had his number, but Romeo's giving nothing over towards Yas. May have found a 3K in the round, but he's not winning out that 1v1, Tim. Is that a sign of things to come?
I think that's the 1v1 that we could see, you know.
I don't think they put Yas in the 1v1.
Not think?
I was looking at it earlier. I think either they give it to, who's it talking about? Either Misa, because he's like their generally best performing player, or they give it to Gotti. And Gotti sounds like a really weird one to pick out here, but I know that he's quite a confident guy.
Yeah.
I think cocky sounds like a harsh word to use.
I think maybe Misa. I think you might be right with Misa. I think it will be Romeo.
The mental game
or maybe
in the 1v1.
Psycho from the side of
Oh, I don't know about Psycho, but I just think Gotti, I'd like to look Gotti got to do it, because I know that, again, he backs himself a lot, and mentality in that 1v1 is going to be so crucial. You don't want a player that's going to wilt away after losing one of the rounds, or maybe two of them. You want someone that backs themselves from start to finish, and I think it could be that guy, even though he's a support player on the team.
Will he be that guy?
Someone's got to be that guy, Tim.
Someone's got to be that guy. So, just as a reminder of what is on the line here, if you look up at the top of your screen, you've got the bullet figure in red. That's how many each team has reloaded here. So, Elevate went with 3 plus the extended mag card to put them onto 9 bullets reloaded, meaning if they win, they gain 9 bullets and go up to 12. If they lose, they drop below 0. Because they lose 9 bullets, they drop below 0 and would face elimination. Same for PSG. They've reloaded 8. They would go up to 11 should they win. They drop below 0 if they lose. On day 3, if you drop below 0, then automatically the dual card is invoked, which means instead of being eliminated immediately, you go into a 1v1 against the team you've just played. And if you're able to win that 1v1 best of 5 rounds, you save yourself. You keep yourself in the tournament. And that is, one way or another, what we're going to be facing. It looks like it's going to be PSG as they now face 3 match points, but it could be reversed. If they manage to get themselves through to overtime and win this, then it's Elevate that would face elimination in that 1v1.
Let's see if we get there first. 2.5 minutes. We could be facing off in our first of the bunch, but they've got to get through this round first and foremost. It's been a bit of a calamitous affair down in the basement across both teams, to be fair, on their executes. Some of them you look at scratching your head thinking, how the hell has this team not won this one versus the other? No one's gone down too early on, though. I imagine there'll be a lot of focus on towards service side, but Misa's gone down. Oh, the fire's already burnt out and taken him. Not ideal to be losing the buck there. I mean, it's not the end of the world to lose a buck, but if this wall, for example, were closed off in the way that it is sometimes, they'd be in a lot of trouble here. Naka trying to do what he can to win out the next one, but the Monty should kill him out of here. And then fair enough, there's a trade that comes on through. Still numbers advantage to Elevate, though. Yeah,
Naka was just trying to survive long enough, I think, for Romeo to get to him there. They knew that they had the Monte in there alone, so you just got to push forward and get aggressive, get a 2-on-1, and you're going to win out that situation. Ryder's kind of hanging around in Dirt Tunnel at the minute, but he knows he's still got this problem with the player in behind the server stack.
He's got to know where he is now, roughly, as well. It's good making use of the Grim here as well to at least force Romeo away. Not force him out of the room entirely, still in a spot where he can challenge onto things, and now they're getting pressured in from the south side at the same time. PSG are trying to build the pressure up, but Tim, I feel like they've lost so much here. Everything rode on Soldier being able to get inside of sight and either plant or cover the plant going down. That's no longer an option.
Well, all the Elevate has done have kind of dropped back deeper into sight. The problem that they've with that is they're kind of inviting PSG to have a look and try and find a few shots to try and get a challenge onto them. And PSG, you know, they're happy to give that a go, but you just feel at the minute if the next kill goes in Elevate's favour, then PSG are in serious trouble. However, they continue fighting. Romeo flashed out, low health. He's in trouble here, and he's going to be finished off by Ryder. And PSG, they're getting the diffuser down, Des. I think they're going to do this one. Psycho has to drop into sight. He's trying to make a challenge and he can't. Yash shuts him down. PSG, they keep themselves fighting for another round.
It really does feel like a scrap at the bottom of the table, doesn't it, Tim? Not going to lie there.
Oh, we're down into it now, Des.
They had a 5 versus 4. They get down to a 4 versus 3 where one of the dead players on PSG was the Shield. Really, PSG had no business closing out that round, but again, I can't take it away from them. They're the ones that have turned it round and won it out, but Elevate should not be giving rounds away from that kind of position.
No, you got to roll your sleeves up and win dirty here, Des. That's all you can do is just get into those scrappy rounds and fight for every inch until you've got a winner. PSG Talon keep themselves alive for another 6-4. Elevate have another 2 chances here. Going to be up onto the top 4. They've got that mirror there again. Romeo this time is going to be playing it rather than Naka. I hope I hope PSG Talon don't make the same mistake. Take that utility away. However it is that you do it, take it away from them. Interestingly, we've got Raura being brought
That's what my big ooh is that. I was thinking about it on this site, and obviously when the mirror plays inside the janitor, it's no use there, it's not very effective. But more looking at closing out certain internal windows, like the double window that you see inside a B site, looking up towards the windows, or the one that goes out towards Banana. Thank you very much, Mr. Observer. This could be really interesting, but look at the investment as well coming out with the double Arunis. It's almost like they're expecting this to come, and it's worth touching on the interaction between those. Based on the side that the laser gates are on, if it's on the side facing outwards, which obviously it can't be here, it would destroy the Raura immediately. On this side, it will still stay intact, and it won't really be a problem for them, but they'll still have to clear it out if they later on want to try and go through that, or of course, shoot anything through it. Problem is though, Tim, they've got nothing to deal with the mirror window here. That makes me a bit nervous.
Especially after they were hurt by it so badly last time. I mean, you know, maybe you could get Sensor's gadget in front of the, you know, maybe create at least a block in that line of sight and make it difficult. Reloading. But, you know, Naka, again, it doesn't help with the Sense gadget, but he's in there on the warden behind the mirror. He's giving themselves every opportunity to keep fighting from that position. They're recognising exactly how important it is. PSG Talon stacking up, trying to get themselves inside of stock. They wanted to use that Raura gadget to close off stock door, but it was dealt with very quickly. Explosives will destroy the gadget, so they're going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Well, it's more just about taking the time here. You're certainly in no rush. I like at least what you see in PSG. You've got something else in the tank, another idea to bring along to the table. Semper being forced back is the key one. Nade comes on through and will at least momentarily push him back, but he's still here, Tim, and ready to challenge. There we go. They've got the kill they need. The Raura, it may have made a temporary appearance there. Wasn't really the influencer in the outcome of that fight, though. Key thing is, Semper is dead.
It was more of a distraction, wasn't it, as they came around with that impact nade. It made it a free fight and took out the Azami. 5 versus 4. PSG Talon have got themselves control of stock by opening that wall. That's equivalent of what I was speaking about earlier, Des. They can't open the elevator wall, but opening the stock wall prevents them playing around vending machine, around top white stairs. It makes it more difficult for Elevate now. They've been cut off effectively and have to play inside of sight.
And now they can start playing on the windows because they've managed to move Semper away, and Naka is now permanently under threat. Problem is he's got cover from Ion, who's been sat around elevators for the majority of this round, so he knows if someone's pushing up and forwards. That's the key one. I was going to say the only thing we could see that could come along and deal with these is either you take the ground yourself and remove the mirror window, or you get rid of it with Yas. He's managed to do just that. A trade coming in onto Misa here as he finds Ion in the first place, so 1 for 1, but Gotti's in, Senz is in, Plant is going down. Elevate might not be able to stop this one, Tim.
Nitro shot out of the air as we watch on. Gotti this time will secure the plant, and you see the big difference to last time they tried. They've dealt with the utility so much better. Naka fighting back, takes the planter out. 3 versus 3. Elevate trying to do what they can, trying to work onto those windows, but this time with extra manpower, PSG are ready, and Yas takes his man out. Romeo is down. It's all up to Naka. He manages to get the down onto the Blackbeard, but surely it's too little too late.
It's the windows. You can't do anything about the windows without going off to ATMs. He's got no chance, and PSG will take round 11. Really well played by PSG. For Elevate, there'll be some frustrations, I think. It felt like they were sitting there waiting to get beat in that round. Wasn't a lot of proactive play, just kind of waiting to see what was going on. Didn't really know what PSG were up to, understandably so. Lots of changes coming in with the ban system as we've regarded before. Elevate are going to call an attack timeout, very understandably, because their backs are against the wall.
Yeah, they very much need to get this over the line. It's going to be...
Obrigado, foi bom, os caras tiveram dificuldade. A única play pocket que eles tinham pra esse ponto, provavelmente eles podem fazer algum domínio ou passar fome, tá ligado? Estão fazendo WCTM, só fica ligado com isso. Eu não acho que vai ser outra play rápida. Full, eles estão abusando de sense, qualquer coisa. Se eles fizerem qualquer coisa com relação a isso, no bomb, beca todo mundo, mano. Se movimenta e ajuda. Foda-se, tá ligado? Joga o jogo full juntando pra gente travar essas plays. Eles estão ganhando o jogo em play pocketzinha, mano. Joga com biriba na comp, essas paradas, mano. Não toma esses bagulho besta assim, de pocketzinha. Então, ganhou esse round, mano. Vamos parar nesse round.
Bora.
Esse round.
Worth a shout as well, we've had fantastic access to the tactical timeouts throughout this event. We've had it once or twice with the...
내가 블리츠해? 뭐 어떻게? 아니면은 그냥 라이언
I understood both of those teams.
With the coach's headset. We're usually kind of reliant on mics that are in there picking up we're getting absolutely crystal clear access to those tactical timeouts, and it's very fascinating. Obviously, you know, we don't speak Portuguese, we don't know what Hudsord was imparting there, but Maria usually helps us out and comes with a little explanation. It was to get an idea, but it's been very, very fascinating to listen into.
Obviously, we were off yesterday, and I was jumping around a few of the co-streamers. Shout out to the co-streamers, by the way, doing a fab job. There's all kinds of content out there to tune into and enjoy this too, as well as the mainstream, of course. But I was listening to Mint for a while as well. Really good analysis being provided. He was listening to the timeouts that was coming in from PSG, and I remember him saying something along the lines of, if you're having to make the comments around, you know, play behind the shield, work together and execute, it feels like you're reteaching the basics in a way. And that's what PSG were really lacking yesterday. They lacked that team play, that cohesion, to the stage that Joker was having to reiterate the basics and say, boys, just remember the fundamentals. And it was a comment from Mainstream where it was like, if you can't get these things right, do you deserve to be at a competition like this? Yesterday, it definitely looked that way. They got 7-0 today. They're looking far better. They're coming with a game plan. They're playing as a team. They're executing onto isolated players and elevate with perfection. Their executes are looking good. Like they had the central down.
As well. They've
going down.
There.
We had Ryder on the window shooting out C4s. Again, it just looks like a team, and it didn't really seem that way yesterday. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's that adaptation. You know, we lost this last time. Why did we lose it? The mirror window, other elements. We've recognised and dealt with that. We've changed the strategy slightly. We've tweaked it, and that's what you need to do in Siege. You need to. It's not all, you know, it's not the end of the world losing a round, so long as you don't lose it in the same way again. You've got to come back, you've got to offer something different. PSG Talon certainly offering something in this one. 6-5 it stands. Elevate, one more chance to get this done. The challenge comes in. Misa, absolutely beautiful kill onto Semper, takes out the Warden, and just like that, PSG Talon start taking over this top floor. And right now there's a big problem for Romeo, faced down by two shields. He manages, however, to find the thermite, and that could be big. It's going to mean that that wall stays closed.
So Hail Mary, just seeing a triple shield come at you. It's like, oh, it's just horrific. It's like hell has opened up and the devil has stepped out trying to face off against this. And fair play to them, they've come away with just one player going down in Semper. They managed to get rid of Ride on the other side, which is quite crucial because that means that the thermite's offline. They can't probably get that main wall opened up. They're just going to have to brute force their way into this one. And given Tim how often it has gone wrong on the pushing with that, with things like the FNAT still on side and the Yokai still available, there is so much here that Elevate can do to stop PSG winning the round. But this is the thing, Tim, it's what they could do, not what they will do.
Just going to be holding that vertical angle with the Monty for the time being. I think just hoping to get a little bit of something to start pushing them forward. Like you say, those three shields could be absolutely terrifying. But the question is, do you have enough of the other utility to be able to get this one done? Yokai drone's just going to be watching the bottom of Marble Stairs there. PSG feel like they're just stalling out a little bit here.
They are. I mean, I'd kind of expect it. Knowing you're potentially facing off against C4s, of which there are now none available. The fact that you've got Yokais, you've got FNATs, and still mirrors available. There's a lot here that can still be a bit of a nuisance and a thorn in your side, but with 3 shields, you should be able to find a way through. I'm more alarmed, Tim, that we're down to the last 20 seconds or so, and only now are we starting to move forward.
Misa having a little tickle of the diffuser there, thinking about trying to get it put down. Romeo manages to find a melee onto Gotti. Naka takes down Yas, 2v2. It is 2 shields. This is almost certainly over for Romeo. As good as he might be, he's going to try and get himself back in. What a challenge onto the Blackbeard. He's now 1v1 against the Monty with diffuser down. A hell of a shot to keep him alive in this one, but can he take on another shield?
Oh man, I mean, Romeo's had such a good game. He's got to be able to win this out.
He's got to go for the shield.
Measured here. Is Misa enough of a strong player to be able to know how to play around this? I'm not sure that he is, Tim. Might find himself taken down. He's gone low again. 20 seconds left to play. Can he hold on against the onslaught? For now, yes. But you can see it being exposed. Romeo, he gets the quad. He gets the 4K. And this is not going to be the tragedy they thought it could be.
Elevate managed to get themselves over the line at the very last time of asking there. That means that they take 9 bullets away from this. They catapult themselves up the table on their new total of 12, Des. And we're going to be seeing a 1v1 between PSG Talon and Elevate as PSG Talon fight to keep themselves in the tournament. There's a couple of things that could happen here.